Now, the WSB Housing Market Update with Atlanta's real estate expert, Bryan Crabtree. Online at therealestateexperts.com.
I see you have a very special guest in the studio.
Yep.
I know him very well.
You do?
I do. He's the real estate expert.
See? He is therealestateexpert.com. HomeFixIt show on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB, the May 12th edition, the week after the Kentucky Derby edition, in which I had back last week, if you want to go back and check the tape, the HomeFixIt handicapper had 1 and 2 in order. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Roxanne says she did too. I don't believe that. So we try and keep you abreast on everything going on in the home fix-it world, including horse racing. But today, at least till 10:30 today, and the phone lines are open at 404-872-0750. Today I have a real estate expert. I've been waiting to have a real estate expert on since like the middle of January, which means I usually have something going on. If I'm really looking hard to get an expert on, it means that's going on in my life somewhere at some level. And we've been trying to sell a house since January in Iowa. So I finally, what is this, May 12th, I finally drug a real estate expert in. And it turns out he's the expert's expert. Bryan Crabtree is here. Hello, Bryan.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
It's good to be anywhere, right?
Yeah.
You're with therealestateexpert.com.
Yep.
Experts?
Yep. Experts, yep.
So you can see them online. That's the thing. You get a name today, you just make it a website, and then people have to go to your website to see you.
Yeah, it's a secret to any kind of business, really. You put a .com at the end of it. Some people think it cheapens the business, but I think it's just easier to explain that's where you go to find us, and that way you don't have to keep repeating it.
There you go. Bryan Crabtree. He's the real estate expert today, and the phone lines are open at 404-872-0750. If you're moving, if you're planning on selling your house, if you're planning on buying a house in the metro area, you don't have to be selling your house to anybody in the metro area. You can be selling your house to anybody. But if you need to know what to do to get it ready to sell, or if you've never worked with a realtor before, there's a lot of people out there. Realtors kind of scare them a little bit because they've never worked with a realtor before, and all they hear, this is my mom, all they hear is that, oh, they're expensive. They're going to run me out of all the money that all my profit is going to go to the realtor. So we're going to get into that as we move along, too. First of all, I get the first question, how do I find a good realtor? And I'm not doing this to take money out of your mouth or business, but you're my expert. Tell me, what do I do to find a good realtor?
I'll tell you what I do when I have someone that I know, a client or a friend or customer that needs someone in a different market. I go online and I start Googling the marketplace, and I start looking at who is actually using today's digital marketing to market themselves. Because if they're not going to market themselves very well, they're certainly not going to market a home very well. And I think people get into the I like this person mentality instead of just judging them on how they're marketing themselves. And so you find that, and I sort of go to 4 or 5 websites. So
you don't necessarily just take the one that shows up at the top, because you can buy your rating, can't you, online?
You can buy the rating, yeah. But I go to those 4 or 5 websites and I send in an inquiry generically about what I'm looking to do. And I think that's what the average person should do. And then I judge how fast they respond and how much they follow up over the next few days. If they don't get real aggressive trying to respond and follow up, that's a great sign of what they're going to do when you actually put your home on the market and they've got a prospective buyer, kind of la-di-da. And that's how I do it, and I think more people would be well served to do that.
The real estate industry has changed a lot with the advent of the internet and things like that in the last 15, 20 years, hasn't it? I mean,
yeah.
It's probably more. I mean, everybody's business has changed somewhat because of that, but I see your industry is changing quite a bit since the really internet era.
Yeah, we're now getting into, and people may not realize that as they go to various websites, they're being profiled by the websites, and the disc profile, their personality type. They're being asked questions that seem just normal, basic questions, and they're these companies are profiling, how do we deliver listings? What kind of words do we use to appeal to this person versus that person? The high dominant personality versus the passive person. How aggressive do you get? So there's that component of it that the real estate industry is just now really embracing. And the good news for that is it helps people receive what they want so much better if they'll use it. There's a lot of scams that are surrounding all that, too, that people have to be careful about as they go about the process.
I remember when I bought my first house, we went and sat with the realtor. This was back in mid-'80s, maybe. And they said, what do you like? What do you want? And then we got in the car and we drove to this house, and then we drove to this house, and then we drove to this house. But now, this is what I want. This is my price range. This is what I want. And it's like picture. Pick a picture, pick an area, and then we'll drive there. It's not random. Hop in the car and off you go.
Yeah, everything's happening online now, and we tell our clients, the first showing, maybe the second showing is actually online, not in person. So you may not get many showings, but you may have a lot of first showings online, and that's great. That makes our job easier. That makes the buyer able to find more what they're looking for. I remember the first day I was in the business, this is the late 90s, we were converting. You remember the book? You used to have to come into the office.
Yeah,
we'd have to thumb through
the
book. We didn't even have the computer process. We were just merging or blending our process onto the first computer at that point. And since then, it's gone to the point where you don't even do any of that anymore. The buyer does all of that. They figure it out themselves and tell you what they want to see.
404-872-0750 is the number. A couple of lines open. We'll get to the phones in just a second. Since it's on the computer now, that means I can do it myself, right? I don't need a realtor. I just list my own house. I can, for sale by owner or whatever, and just do all the work myself, right?
Maybe a shocking answer. 10 years from now, that may be the case. The problem that we haven't figured out in the real estate industry yet, not for lack of effort, is if you can just do it yourself as a buyer and you can just do it yourself as a seller, how do we connect the two? Because the two people, the buyer and the seller, have an inherent conflict of interest. I want to sell for as much as possible, and I want to buy for as low as possible. Yeah. And the right realtor, the right real estate agent, that's their job, is to make those two things gel together, and that's what consumers haven't figured out how to do. That's what Zillow, although they're trying, Google hasn't figured out how to do, and that's where the value of the agent comes in. If they're a good negotiator, they're worth their weight in gold. If they're not, then that's where the consumer sentiment that maybe we charge too much commission and we don't do a lot of work does have some validity.
Let's go to the phones. I have more questions, but let's go to the phones. 404-872-0750 is the number. Lillian, our first call of the day, is in Conyers. Hello, Lillian.
Good morning.
Where is Conyers?
I thought you were a little bit familiar with Conyers.
Oh, I do, but I like to ask that from everybody from Conyers, and you'd be surprised at some of the answers I get.
Okay, I have a house that I'm working toward putting on the market. Right now, I need to replace the furnace air conditioner, and there are several grades of air conditioner and furnace that I can put in. And I'm wondering how much difference it would make in the quality of the air conditioner furnace in the sale of a house.
Here's what I think. And my mom is trying to sell her house, and she has some roofing issues. If you had somebody already have an offer, say, or you're negotiating or somebody's in there, here's what I told my mom to do with her roof. Okay, Brian wants to buy my house. I need a new roof. Brian, I've picked out a quality roofer, top-notch company. You can check out their company. I'm going to put the cheapest shingle that they offer on there. If you want me to put a better shingle on there, you're going to pay for it. Is that something I could fairly tell somebody, Brian?
I think that's an excellent answer. In fact, I tell people in the air conditioner scenario, because they're saying, what would I do if I own the home? Well, a lot of times it's old, or they've had to fix it more than they might like. Sometimes it's better just to fix it. And then if you need to disclose it, if there's something wrong with it, do that to be lawful. But bottom line is, you kind of want to negotiate that with the buyer, let them kind of have the ability to choose, because otherwise you put $4,000 in and you don't necessarily get that $4,000 back out.
I don't think, Lillian, you're not quite to that stage where you have buyer. You're still looking to put in
It's not at the market. Right. I'm trying to get it fixed up and then put it on the market maybe in a year and a half.
Yeah. I would, if it's fixable, I would at this point fix it right now. If I knew I was going to have to put in a new heating and air system, I would try and get my house to market before I put in the new one. And then when somebody came and, if it got down to that and say, okay, you're right, I need a new heating and air system, I'm going to put this system in and take kind of one of the least expensive. I'm going to use a quality installer, but I'm going to use one of their least expensive, least efficient units, and then tell because I would get by everything I need to at that point. And then I would tell the people, I'll upgrade the efficiency, but you're going to have to pay for the upgrade in efficiency.
I need the air conditioner now.
Okay.
Right now I don't have it.
Then I would, if I were you, I'd probably go with a better, since it's you and you're at least a year away, maybe 2 years away, I would probably go with a better unit, a little more efficient unit. I don't want to because I'm costing myself money for a couple of years maybe in my monthly bills, and if I get I don't want to put the cheapest one in because I don't want to be tagged. Say it takes you 3 years to sell it, or 3.5 years. I don't want to be tagged for 3.5 years with a less efficient unit and service. You're costing yourself energy bills down the line, and then it's going to be a 3.5-year-old less efficient unit. To get that out of my mouth. Rather than a 3.5-year-old more efficient unit. So I would probably go with a better unit at this point.
Well, would a better unit do anything toward improving the sales, the chance of or would it entice the buyer a little bit better to have a better unit in?
It's not going to, Brian's kind of shaking his head, it's not going to drive your sales price of your house up any. Is that right to say?
Yeah,
but it's more of the saleability.
Yeah, but it's not going to increase that, but it's not going to hurt it. I think if you went in with a really cheap unit, you may hurt a little at that point, but you're not going to boost it.
I would just say that if she has a year's worth of utility bills that are, say, $30 or $40, $50 a month cheaper because of a highly efficient unit, some buyers that may add a little value. But absent that, really being able to measure how much you're saving a month, the value of the cheapest unit versus the most expensive unit does not generally change the value of the home. Yeah.
What I was trying to say is the value you would get from a better unit is not going to equal what you would lose if you put in a cheap unit and had it run for 3.5. I would go with a better unit at this point, just knowing that I'm going to live in that. You don't know 2 years from now what's going to happen. It's hard to get that crystal ball out and forecast it. So I would go with a better unit at this point, knowing that I'm going to live in that house for a couple of years yet. Hope that makes sense. Cool Ray will come by and help you size that out. They're experts at that also. And you may not be that far off from a good, solid, affordable unit that is higher in efficiency than you think you are. So thanks for that, Lillian. 404-872-0750 is the number. Lee, Todd, Al, hang right where you are. We're going to bring you up to date on news, weather, traffic, and more of the Home Fix It Show on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB. I'm Dave Baker, joined by Bryan Crabtree from therealestateexperts.com. We're talking real estate this morning, moving, selling houses, buying houses, what to do, what not to do. Let's jump back into phone calls, talk to Christine in Bethlehem. Hello, Christine. You're on WSB.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have a house that's 22 years old. My roof is 3 years old, and I have a expensive water heater I just put in. And I replaced the vinyl in my kitchen and bathrooms, and the rest is carpet. So my nearest neighbor had a short sale, and I'm on a heavily wooded lot. What's the best thing I can do to sell my home? My heat pump is 15 years old.
What? Oh, I thought you were. I'm sorry. We looked at each other like.
I was waiting on you. No, from a sales perspective, I mean, you call a good agent or two or three, interview them, have them out. One of the things that I am doing in a lot of homes right now is staging. A lot of people look at me when I say it's going to be $1,500, $3,000 to stage your home. That is the number one investment in home sales right now that a seller can put into their home before they put it on the market, because we take the personalization out. And to make it simple, we just add shiny things that buyers really like to look at. It's like an HGTV moment, and they go in the home and they look at the shiny things, and it distracts them from all the so-called not shiny things. And it's a marketing process that really, really helps. It also generates great photography. So that's the number one thing that most sellers don't want to invest in. But is the most effective in this. It doubles.
Obviously,
the effectiveness.
Clean your carpet and things like that. But would you recommend she paint the walls inside the house, or
part of the staging process is looking at everything. But you want nice, clean carpet if there's carpet. You don't want scratched up floors. You want to fix those things, and you want to fix paint that's multicolored or personalized and make it tans and off whites, because that's sort of what people look for, a neutrality, so they can picture themselves past your items and putting their items in the home. So those are highly important things. Clean and well staged is more important than highly upgraded.
How about the appliances in the kitchen? They're the original appliances, but they look good and they work.
The buyer of today's home, $150,000 infinitum, is looking at what they generally see on HGTV or the like, which is the browns, the tans, or inside the city, more of the modern feel. A lot of people have gold knobs on cabinets. For a couple $100, you can really do an upgrade job by switching those out to something that's either oil rub bronze or nickel. You could put granite on. It's not that expensive. Those kind of things really return a value. Stainless steel appliances. You start doing those kinds of things to a dated kitchen, and you really get your money back on that.
Updated kitchens. Kitchen's probably one of the best things you could do to your house to make it the value anyway, to move through a sale. Decking has also moved up there quite a bit. You wouldn't think a deck would do that much, but a nice deck, or maybe if you have a deck, clean it off real well, get some deck bright or something, and make it look nice. The bathroom's kind of in there a little bit in the ball game, but Brian's right. You'd be surprised at what new hardware in your kitchen would do. Even if you don't do anything else, replace the knobs and the handles in your kitchen, and you'll walk in and go, oh.
Hinges and strike plates on the doors. I mean, we're talking a couple $100 on a Saturday afternoon
and a screwdriver
can make a $3,000 difference in how your house looks, literally.
And,
I mean, it's
and
real.
Vodka and orange screwdriver is what I mean. I don't mean the handheld screwdriver.
Orange?
Orange juice.
Orange juice.
I replaced the garage door from a wood to one of those really nice insulated ones, and that changed the whole look of the house.
Yeah. From the outside.
I hate to put it this way, but I believe in the lipstick on a pig theory. I mean, it's the stuff you do that really stands out and makes something pop, like the knobs or the hardware, is more important sometimes than I've got carpet and upgrading it to hardwood flooring.
Tell me if I'm speaking correctly or not. Christine has a 20-year-old home. People that come to buy that house know that it's a 20-year-old home. They're not going to walk in and expect the wide open floor plans and the fancy this and the fancy that. The realtor's already going to say this is a 20-year-old house. So they're going to walk in, and obviously the houses have changed over the years, the last 20 years, the way they're built, the way they look. So they know that going in, right? That's
generally, you'd be surprised though, because you have people who want to buy a house for a certain price point, but have been into new home neighborhoods where the prices might be $150,000 higher for the same square footage, and then they're trying to apply what they've seen there to these old houses. That's frustrating for everybody, and that usually means that the buyer's agent that's driving around hasn't properly set the expectations. But the buyer who ultimately buys is going to be someone who wants more of a traditional home and understands that there may be a little more work and maintenance.
There's some other things, Christine, that I found we did to my mom's house, and she by no means lived in a mansion or a palace even. Well, your home is your palace. I don't want to speak down to anybody, but we found new faceplates for the electrical outlets and for she has phone outlets and things like that. But we found some plates where we changed the outlet around to it has one plug-in and one USB port plug-in into the same one. Now, you don't think that that's a very big deal, but think about your cell phone, and you're in the kitchen and you want to plug in your cell phone and you can't find anywhere. Well, there it is right there by the outlet. You know, and you do 3 or 4 of those around the house. You do one in the bedroom, you do one in the kitchen, you do one wherever you are the most, you know, and all of a sudden you got a place you can plug in to get your phone charged. I mean, that's a simple thing.
That's emotional selling, because we all know that one of the things that we're doing the most is looking for the square, looking for the cable, and having that. We've done that in both.
Yeah.
In anything that we do, we're doing that. Not only that, but adding nice-looking faceplates on the electrical outlets instead of the cheap white ones from Home Depot. We upgrade them to the oil or bronze or the nickel, because that adds a real class and value to the house. That might be like adding crown molding.
Yeah. So it's sometimes it's just the smallest things, and you can update the house, and it'll just look nicer right off the bat. You know, if you want to paint, you go to a more neutral color, to a tan or a beige or what'd you say, an off-white?
Off-white, yeah.
Yeah, something neutral. You move the furniture a little bit away from the walls and get rid of all your junk, right? I want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things a stager does, for instance, a lot of people have at least a queen, if not a king-size bed in their master bedroom. Stagers tend to like, if they can, especially if you're moving out of the house, they'll put in maybe a double bed with 2 very small end tables, because those large pieces of furniture make the home look smaller. The small pieces of furniture, the buyer doesn't exactly walk in and go, oh, well, that's a small bed. They just feel like the room is bigger, and selling is about feeling. And that's one of the things that staging really helps with as well.
Thanks for the call. 404-872-0750 is the number. Billy's in Hiram. Billy, you're on the Home Fix It show.
Morning, Dave.
Morning, Billy.
I got a similar question. I got a house that's worth about $250,000. I was thinking about getting ready to sell, but it needs about $30,000 to $40,000 worth of repairs, like a remodel a bathroom and a deck and a paint job. would it be to my advantage to go ahead and get the repairs done, or just take a discount on the house and sell it to the new seller? New buyer, I mean.
You know, if you're talking about dated bathrooms, dated kitchens, and the need for paint, those items, you know, you've got deferred maintenance, so you don't always get all of the deferred maintenance back. But generally, buyers that are buying in a $200,000 to $300,000 price range have a limited amount of down payment, which means they have a limited amount of fixer-upper funds. And so they generally are buying the homes that are ready to move in, that have neutral colors and are up to snuff. So you may get all your money back in that investment, and I can guarantee it'll sell extremely fast. If you have the ability to upgrade it, it's better to do that and put it on the market. I mean, because I buy these homes all the time as investments, and that's what I do. I go in and update the bathrooms, the hardware, the countertops, paint the cabinets, put in new appliances, those sort of things. And generally, if you buy it right, you know, that fixer-upper you buy, you can make $20,000 or $30,000 doing that work because some seller didn't do it or couldn't do it.
That's exactly what I want to hear. I'll do it myself.
There you go, Billy.
Good luck.
Thanks for the call. 404-872-0750 is the number. Dave Baker here talking to Bryan Crabtree. You go to therealestateexperts.com. All those words, therealestateexperts.com. You can see more about Bryan and his business right there. Can I list the house right there, or do I have to contact you? And
well, I hadn't got that process add to cart yet, but I'm working on it. No, you'll have to contact us.
I like that.
You can get your home's value on there.
Okay.
It'd be just instantly, it gives it to you right there. We don't ever have to talk to you, but if you want to talk to us, that process will get you to us easily.
Very good. You're listening to the Home Fix It Show on News 95.5 and AM 750 WSB.